around 3:30, I watched the ABC World News Tonight. It's an early version that gets broadcast out here on the West Coast. And man, the world is just continually erupting with so much violence with Jerusalem and the Gaza, and the shooting in New York City this past weekend. There's such an eruption going on in our world right now. And the electromagnetic funnel technique that Lazaris taught, and I remember that, and I've used it over the years very well. And I knew that there were other electromagnetic techniques that he's taught, and also ones that I've learned that I'd like to share with the group, because I think it's important, more so now than ever, to not only to be conscious of the world events without becoming overly conscious, meaning to be inundated by all the news out there, but to be aware enough to work your magic and to be motivated so that we can start to use our grand magic, to start stepping into being the powerful magician that you are destined to be, that is in alignment with your empowered destiny. And in the class I just finished, I did one on awakening your spiritual gifts. And I talked about, our destiny. And there's basically two destinations that we have. One of them is the default destiny, which is your ego, which ends up at the end of life feeling frustrated, not fulfilling your destiny, feeling like, life's a bitch and then you die, the ego's default mechanism of what that destination is about. And when you can step in and listen and connect and stand in that spiritual adult, the spiritual adult that you are, and that you are unfolding more so in your life now more than ever, is becoming essential so that you can fulfill your empowered destiny. And that's always a choice. And when we don't choose for the empowered destiny, we will default into the disempowered destiny, which is our ego. And the ego is often the negative or the immature ego. And as we mature and we heal and we align and awaken the power of our soul and spirit, it is that love and that light and that understanding and that wisdom that can heal and mature the weak ego, so that they can create an alliance, a partnership, where then you have the foundation in order to open up and to start being the global magician that all of us in so many ways are destined to become. And so one way that is a win-win situation for all of us is to learn how to ground and transmute and transform the electromagnetic energy that is present in our world, always present. The electromagnetic energy, as I define soul and spirit, and the soul and the spirit is the life force energy. Obviously a body without soul and spirit has no electromagnetic energy. It's called being dead. It's a dead body. The container's there, but there's no life force. And it's our soul and spirit that is the electromagnetic life force that brings us into reality. And it is the presence of soul and spirit that is so powerful. And right now we're being called to realize that electromagnetic energy is part of the elements. It's part of life. And when we can review today, and what my goal is to review some of the techniques that Lazaris has shared with us over the years. And as a reference point for some of you listening, that the book that I referred to, which is now available as an ebook, is The Sirius Connection. When Lazaris talked about the opening of the vortex of the goddess, April 23rd, 1994, he talked about downloading and grounding that information, that light, and to prepare our brain. And subsequently, he's talked about lots of different brain exercises to help heal the chemistry of our brain. But there's actually, in my research, I realized there's so many techniques he's taught. So I'm narrowing it down to a couple that are practical, easy to use, and also has the benefit, not only of changing your brain chemistry, but has the benefit of awakening and stimulating your creativity, your imagination, your intuition, has that ability to connect you with the wisdom from within, to take the information from the goddess, the light information of your soul and spirit, and to create an active receiver within your brain to not only download the information, but to awaken dormant parts of our brain that are necessary for us to fulfill our empowered destiny, to reach and to stretch and to become more. And so the technique that he shared and taught was about there is a surgence of electromagnetic energy in the world through the disruption of violence, where there is this human social conflict that comes up, the marches and the people that have all this anger and this rage, and that electromagnetic energy of their aura and presence is filling the environment and is, quote, not polluting the world, but it is out there to have impact in the world, in the resonance of the world. And one way that we can help to not only awaken our intuition, to spark our creativity, and to allow our wisdom to become downloaded through the imagination, is to activate the electromagnetic energy and the receptors in your brain by channeling and grounding that excessive electromagnetic energy that's in our world. And it's caused from many different things, the intensity of weather, the weather patterns where there's extreme storms of tornadoes that race through the Midlands, to the storm right now that's moving from Texas to the North Carolina. There's lots of thunderstorms. That's electromagnetic energy. And the hurricanes that happen during hurricane season, the tectonic activities, the volcanoes, the earthquakes, all of that is part of the tectonic activity. And that energy erupts. Also, it needs receptors. It needs people to be able to consciously grab hold of the energy and to ground it, to not only awaken your own potential, and I believe it's in some ways that electromagnetic energy, and people out there in the world who aren't as conscious, who aren't following necessarily a spiritual or metaphysical path, that surges of electromagnetic energy are kind of forcing their brain to evolve, kind of forcing it to some degree. And of course, we can avoid it. We can go into that, and we can become overwhelmed in the dark chaos of that overwhelm of too much electromagnetic energy. But when you can learn to use these techniques that I'm going to review and to ground it, consciously reaching in and connecting with the electromagnetic energy and pulling it in to awaken and to feed in many ways your soul and spirit, to ignite the creativity, the imagination, the wisdom, to ignite all those parts of yourself, the imagination that Lazaris has said has been, needing to be awakened in humanity. We can do that as map makers to set the map for other people. And so my goal, and as I was looking through the different techniques, I looked at the ones that he specifically commented on, is a way to ground the excessive electromagnetic energy in our world. So it's a win-win situation. It helps to reduce the intensity of the weather, because the electromagnetic energy is neutral, it's out there. And it's taking into formation of these eruptions of violence, these eruptions of negativity, this eruption of storms, and the intensity of the elements, because we need to learn to ground it and to practically utilize it for our own growth. And so that's what I want to talk about in this experiment tonight. Now, as I got started earlier, and one thing that I'm going to talk about here is I'm going to definitely give the details of some techniques that Lazaris talked about, but I also want to kind of lay a foundation, which he's mentioned here and there, but he didn't actually make it into a process, but I've kind of made it into my own process of preparation. It's not just about close your eyes, visualize a funnel going out of your head, connect the electromagnetic energy and pull it in. It's important to have a foundation. And I've come up with 5 steps to create the preparation to do any of these exercises that I'm going to share with you tonight. And the first one is, in preparation, is you need to get into a place, a space that you can relax, where you won't be distracted, where you can get yourself centered and you can breathe, and just kind of get centered and breathe, because you want to pull your awareness and attention from the 5 senses of sight, smell, touch, hearing, and you want to pull it to your inner senses by closing your eyes, by breathing, by centering yourself, and then you open up and start to let your unfamiliar senses, your common sense of imagination and balance, to come forward. And so that's the first step of preparation, is to relax, center yourself, and to breathe. And each of you probably have your own way of doing that. And the mere fact of just closing your eyes, going into a quiet environment, either by putting in, earphones or blocking your earplugs, but to just kind of disconnect from the outside world of noise and confusion, so that you can focus and prepare yourself to transmute and to ground this electromagnetic energy that is so rampant on our planet right now, and to also, as I mentioned, benefit you in the process. So the first step is to get centered, to relax, and to breathe. The second step is to set your intention. Why am I doing this? I want to connect with, and again, this is the beauty of intention, is your intention is what orders and prioritizes your experiences in life or your reality. It orders and prioritizes what you pay attention to, what you set your intention to. Intention focuses and organizes your consciousness, and it gives direction to your subconscious mind, which is extremely powerful. But your subconscious mind doesn't have choice. You do. So when you set your intention, you are activating your conscious choice and aligning it and giving instruction to your subconscious mind of what you want to happen. And throughout these exercises, Lazaris references certain glands within your brain, the pineal, the pituitary, the hypothalamus. You don't have to know where those are. Your subconscious mind knows. You just have to know they're in here in my head. They're not down in my toe. They're in your head. And so as you set the intention, when you are getting ready to do a technique, you're giving your subconscious mind the direction. So that's the second step of preparation. First one is to relax and center. The second one is to set your intention. The third one, which I have found so valuable for me, is then to ground yourself. It's important to ground yourself before you open up to let all this electromagnetic energy. That way you can pull in more energy. Now, if you're up in your head, which is often, I know many of you do, and on myself, I've done it. I'm always up in my head thinking about stuff. Grounding yourself, getting into the present moment is the third step of this preparation to do any of these techniques I'm going to talk about. And grounding yourself is easy to do. And I'll go over a couple of those techniques here really quickly. One way that I ground myself is through the breathing process. When I'm centered and focused and relaxed, is that I become sensual, meaning I become aware of my body temperature. I become aware of my position in the room. I become aware of the clothing on my body. I start to pull my awareness into the center of my being. And then what I do is there's a couple ways of doing this. You can, at the first chakra, the root chakra, you can send energy down to that 8th chakra, which is at the bottom of your feet. You remember Lazaris has talked about the 7 chakras in the body, the 8th one below the feet, the 9th one above your head. Well, you take that first chakra, which is red, and imagine it going down into the earth beneath your feet to connect with that 8th chakra. And then you can either sense your 8th chakra as growing roots down into the earth. You can sense it as a beam of energy going into the earth. Again, setting your intention, I'm going to ground right now. I ground myself so that I can allow myself to channel more of that electromagnetic energy than if I'm ungrounded. Because if you're ungrounded, it's going to cause you to feel more chaos during the process. But when you ground yourself, it's going to anchor you so that you can pull in more of the electromagnetic excessive energy that's so prevalent in our world today. That's the third step. The fourth step then is to ask for help. You don't have to do this alone. You don't have to figure it out on your own. You can ask your higher self for help. Your higher self has the power to help you, but it doesn't have the choice. It's not going to override your free will choice. So fourth step of this preparation to use any of these techniques is to ask for help from your higher self and your subconscious self. So your subconscious self is so powerful. It knows, like I mentioned, where your hypothalamus is. It knows where your pituitary gland is. It knows where your pineal gland is. And just by you saying, I want to pull this energy into that region of my body, your subconscious mind will help you tremendously. But again, you have to direct it by the intention and by asking for help. Now, I don't know if everyone's done this, but I know that Lazaris in one of his talks talked about personifying your subconscious self. And I've done that years ago. I work with my subconscious a lot because that's what was creating so much static in my life. All my dreams and goals I wanted to do, but there's so much clutter in my subconscious that I had to go through and do a lot of cleaning and clearing and working on that. And I know all of you have done the same, but I personify my subconscious self as a man, and he always has a clipboard. When I go into my subconscious mind, he looks so studious. He has a pair of glasses on, which I never used to wear glasses when I first started visualizing him. That was when my vision was better. But he always has this clipboard, and he looks like, do you remember the commercials for Verizon? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? That guy that's kind of a little geeky, with the glasses, and he's, dark hair. He kind of looks like that. That's what my subconscious self looks like. But what's important is to personify your higher self, your subconscious self, and ask them for help. to help you ground the excessive electromagnetic energy to benefit the world, and also to awaken and ignite the creativity, imagination, wisdom, and that energy that is so creative within you, to give that depth and attention. So that's the fourth step, ask for help. And then the fifth step is to do the techniques. So there's only really 4 preparation steps. So let's continue. So now you've got the 5 steps of preparation, which are really 4 steps. The 5th step is to do the technique. And let's talk about some of the techniques. There is one that Lazaris described as the beam of light technique. And this is a very simple one. And again, this is helping you to ground the electromagnetic energy. And it also is a way to activate the temporal lobes. So what you're going to do is you're going to, do the preparation, go into meditation, ask for help, get centered, and then you're just going to sense above you this beam of light coming straight down into the center of your brain. Not necessarily where the soft spot is behind in the back of the scalp, but right in the center of the brain. And you sense that beam of light coming down, piercing like a laser beam. And it's going to come down and you just sense it there touching your scalp. Use your imagination as much as possible to really engage. And also, again, that imagination is what gives communication to your subconscious mind. So as you sense a beam of light penetrating into the scalp, into the skull, and down into the brain, until it goes down into the very center of your brain, right behind the bridge of your nose, center of your brain. So if you look here, it would be right in the center. And that's the area that's kind of between the pituitary and the pineal gland. So you sense this rush of energy, this energy coming down into the brain, and then it's going to, from there, it's going to spring out, coming out through the temporal lobes, both at the same time, simultaneously. So it's down, it becomes one beam, centering into behind your eyes in the center of your head. And then as it anchors there, it's going to divide and split. And imagine that these beams are now coming out of the sides of your head, which is your temporal lobes. And then you feel the flow of energy down and out, flowing down and out, flowing down and out. That constant, singular becoming 2 and dividing, singular becoming 2 and dividing. And that's called the beam of light. And it's sensing the flow of that energy through the temporal lobes. And that is one way that you can start to ground and tap into that excessive electromagnetic energy and balance the hemispheres of your brain as well. And he talked about that in detail in the book on, or audio recording of the Sirius connection. And he also mentioned there's another technique to the same process that can help you to get out of your body, actually for astral projection or wanting to lift out of your body. And that's to do it reverse, where you see 2 beams of light coming in here into the center behind your eyes, into the center of your head where the pituitary and pineal gland is. They meet and then they become one and they shoot straight up out of the top of your head. So they come in, connect, and shoot up. So you sense energy flowing in and going straight up, energy flowing in, going straight up. And as you do that with the force of energy, he said, oftentimes you can leave your body if you're not well grounded, but you can definitely leave your body. So that's another version of the same technique by doing it in reverse. And one of the things I'm going to recommend about this technique and then the funnel technique is often I lay down when I meditate. I'll lay down on my sofa and I have a meditation chair that reclines. But I think it's really important when you're doing the electromagnetic energy work to sit up where your back is straight and your head is straight, not laying down, because to kind of visualize like this funnel going out the wall and then up and out, I think it's just easier to be sitting in an upright, erect position. That's just my own preference. But if you notice, if you're laying down and you have difficulty imagining it, that it might help to sit up during these exercises. And the other cool thing is that this doesn't have to be a major meditation. It's just a centering and a focusing of your intention. It's really about grounding yourself and asking for help. So you can do any of these techniques in 5 minutes, 10 minutes. It doesn't have to take a lot of time. The second technique, the hypothalamus, and I've got my notes here, so I make sure I cover everything he talked about, since this isn't my own technique by any means. And he talks about the hypothalamus is about the size of a small grape. So you can visualize it as a small grape. And Thank you, Keith. And that small grape is going to be, the hypothalamus is like behind your nose. It's deeper, further down than the pineal and the pituitary. It's like if you look at your nose and you go straight back into the center of your head, you imagine this little tiny grape. And you know how grapes have that kind of like coating on top of it? It's like kind of dull. You know, when they're on the branch, they have that like, you know, that skin on the grape and it's kind of like flat. And what he suggests doing is that you take that hypothalamus in your mind, in your imagination, and you expand it, see that grape getting bigger, you know, reaching up, reaching down, reaching sideways. Just sense the grape like stretching, doing these little stretching exercises. And as it does, it starts to become shinier. It starts to look wet. You know, that dull grape look, it's going to start to look shiny. It's going to start to look moist. It's going to start to look juicy and wet and shiny. And that's when it's building up this, it's exercising the hypothalamus gland. And also, what is it doing? It's telling your subconscious mind what your intention is. I want to extract and to energize my hypothalamus. And again, you're not necessarily, you set your intention to connect with the electromagnetic energy, but just doing this exercise, and you sense that little grape in the middle of your brain becoming shiny, becoming moist, becoming juicy, becoming wet, and then a drop of liquid from that hypothalamus, which is its chemical release. You just sense it dropping down and moving through your bloodstream. One drop, a tear drop falling from that gland into your bloodstream to help balance the nervous system, to help work with what that hypothalamus, the hormones that it secretes. And he recommends that as a hypothalamus meditation that can also help you to download and to connect with the energy of the goddess, that light information that was opened up during that vortex of April 23rd, 1994, to help you open up, to take that energy into information, to bring it into formation into your consciousness. And that is an exercise that he also suggests. And that's the second one, the beam of light, the first one, the hypothalamus meditation, the second one. The third one is the one that I think is most common. And it's a fun technique, and I like this one a lot. And what you do, again, is you do the preparation, you know, you relax, center, set your intention, you ground yourself, and you ask for help from your higher self and your subconscious self. And then you do this technique where you sense, again, back where the pituitary pineal gland is, in the center of your head, behind your brow, right here where your two, the bridge of your nose meets where your eyes are, just right behind there in the center of your head, you sense this little tiny vortex of energy, a little tiny vortex beginning to grow. And as you give it and set your intention that you want to connect with, you know, this outbreak in Israel, or this storms that are passing through, you know, Texas through its way to the Carolinas. As you set the intention, you sense this little spiral in the center of your brain growing up, and then it's coming out through I like to imagine it coming out of the soft spot, you know, that seventh chakra, coming up and getting bigger as it's growing, it's expanding, it's getting bigger, it's becoming a funnel shooting straight up. And you sense it and imagine it connecting to those storms, or connecting to that riot taking place in South Africa, or you sense it with the residue of the earthquake that just erupted last weekend, or, you know, whatever. You just set it, the intention, you give your subconscious mind the direction, and then you just sense this going up, imagining it, going out there and connecting with that. And as the vortex opens, I sense the electromagnetic energy kind of like lightning, or like little sparkles of light, you know, just this potential of magnetism and electricity. However you see it, it doesn't matter. What works for you is the way you visualize it. Alexa just told me to take out the trash. It's my Monday night trash night. I had to remind you. So I don't know if you all heard that. It's great to have an assistant who's always on time. Anyways. So now I just got another little reminder. Tonight's trash night here in San Francisco. I have to take it out on the curb. Anyways, so back to this technique. So the funnel goes up. You can sense it small, connecting to the part of the world just by imagining that energy there. Visualize it the way that works for you is electricity, electromagnetic energy, however you want to see it. And then just sense it sucking it in. Sense it coming down in and grounding that energy and pulling that energy out of the chaos, out of the dark chaos of the eruption in the world, whether it's social injustice eruptions, whether it's excessive cold or heat, whether it's weather intensity or outbursts, whatever it might be, that you just sense that, you make the intention and you pull it down into your brain, into that pineal-pituitary gland, that area. And that's the way to ground it and to activate, to kickstart your imagination, your intuition, your creativity, and your wisdom. And that technique is the one that Marilyn mentioned for us to do, but I wanted to give a couple of other, and it was good review for me because I had to go back and look at my notes and look at some of the information of what he talked about, because there are some really cool and powerful techniques. And then there's also some that I've developed, and I'll share a couple of those as well. But that is the third technique that I wanted to share with you. There's also the pineal and pituitary meditation. Lazaris suggested that he has recorded, and it's available on the website. If you don't have it, it's a great meditation to activate and stimulate the pituitary and the, getting that low power mode again. I don't know why my phone isn't charging. I need some electromagnetic energy to get my phone charged up here, folks. Let me try it one more time. At any rate, I'll be able to wrap up here probably in the next 15, 20 minutes. Hopefully my phone will last that long. So the technique that he recommends is that pineal pituitary meditation that he has as a recording that you can listen to. Again, another way to activate it. And he also recommended, there's an old evening tape called Living Magically Every Day. In that meditation, many of you I know have done it. It's amazing. It's about running energy. And if you're feeling stuck or you're feeling, like you want to shift your reality, he mentions that as another technique to help with this energy that can help you to ground it and awaken those dormant portions, is to run the energy. And it's a recording called Living Magically Every Day. You can listen to it. It's a beautiful meditation where you run energy in your body and it expands your aura, expands your own electromagnetic energy, and it helps to shift and lift you out of those other, the dissonant resonances that might be in your auric vibration. So that's another one. You're welcome, Sally. Thank you. That's another technique that he recommended. But let me share one that I've discovered and I've learned that I got in meditation from my soul. And it's one that helps to balance the masculine, feminine energy, to bring balance to the hemispheres of your brain. And it's a very simple, again, meditation where you would, again, do the preparations, and then you close your eyes and you imagine there's a sphere on both sides of your brain, two different spheres, okay? I imagine like about the size of a small volleyball or a large softball, probably like the size of a softball. And you sense two spheres. On the left side of the brain is a yellow sphere. On the right side of the brain is a blue sphere. So you sense a sky blue colored sphere and a yellow sunshiny bright sphere. And they're right next to each other inside your brain. And what you do is you imagine that yellow color is moving towards the blue and the blue color is moving towards the yellow. So they're creating a third color in between. They're creating a synergy, a harmony, where they create the color green, because when you mix yellow and blue together, it creates green. So the two become one, where that blue and yellow mix together to create this ball of green light. And what do we know about green? Heart center, healing, balancing. So you sense, and this came to me in a meditation when I was teaching a class about 10 years ago, and it just downloaded and I started teaching it. And it's been very helpful for me personally and also people I've taught. You just sense then this green ball of light in your brain. And then I ask for help for my higher self to heal my brain chemistry, to bring balance and harmony and healing within my brain chemistry. And your subconscious mind knows the yellow-green heart chakra is about balance and harmony. It's about bringing together the masculine, which is the yellow sphere of light, dynamic, bright, vibrant, and the cool color of blue, feminine energy. Blue is feminine, and it's a passive, cool color, where the hot colors are the masculine colors. So you bring them together and you create this balance of green. And that technique you can do in the morning before you get out of bed if you're feeling out of balance. I love it. It's a quick, easy technique, and I offer that to you as well. And another technique that I thought about that Lazaris has shared is where it's actually again about working with the hemispheres of your brain. This is more about brain chemistry than actually channeling electromagnetic energy. But I believe when your brain is balanced and in harmony, you're going to be more receptive to pull in that energy than if it's out of balance. So this, I think, will help you to also bring that electromagnetic energy in. I can't guarantee it, but it's my gut tells me it would be valuable. And that's where Lazaris says you take the index finger of your dominant hand. So if you're left-handed, it'll be on your left hand. If you're right-handed, it'll be on your right hand. And you put it on your temple on your, the temporal lobe, the temple. And then you take your middle finger of your non-dominant hand. Barbara knows about the middle finger in her non-dominant hand. It's an inside joke. You take the middle finger and you put it here, and you're going to sense by closing your eyes, you're just going to sense like there's a beep, a blimp of light, a little, like a heart monitor that would go across and it would go beep, beep. Well, you sense out of your right index finger of your dominant hand's index finger, you sense your pulsing energy, and it's crossing across your brain and is beeping and going out and connecting with the middle finger of your non-dominant hand. And you just sit there. And you physically do this, by the way. You don't just sit there and imagine your hands are up there. You actually physically do this. And Lazaris has mentioned, and it has been effective. I've offered it to some of my private sessions with my solution sessions with clients who have migraines, and it can really, really help their migraines. I had one lady who did this, and she said it reduced her migraines when she started feeling one coming on, and I taught her the technique. She said, now 4 out of 5 migraines are reduced and mitigated by doing that technique. So it's really helpful. So you just sense it now. Your eyes are closed. You have your fingers literally physically on your temples, sending a pulse of energy from the dominant hand, index finger, going across beep, and it's traveling across beep, and then it goes faster, beep, 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 until it becomes a solid hum, where you can't distinguish each of those little beats. It's flowing, and you just imagine that, and you sense the pulse as it increases faster and faster and faster and faster and faster and faster until it becomes this hum, a total vibrational energy that balances the right and left hemispheres of the brain, that I believe will also help you to receive the electromagnetic energy, but definitely it will help to balance in the brain chemistry and to heal some of the chemistry and the mechanics of the brain that has been askew, perhaps from excessive shame in your childhood, or from, the brain can get damaged in so many ways from our emotions and things that we have repressed. So that's a technique as well. This is, again, a reminder. A lot of you already know these techniques, but it's good to be reminded of some of the ones maybe you have forgotten that you might want to incorporate. You can refer to the Sirius connection book if you have the physical book, or now it's an ebook you can download. You can listen to the Pineal-Pituitary gland meditation that's available, as well as Living Magically Every Day to Run Energy. I think that's a good start here as far as techniques. And again, if there's any ones that you're using that I didn't mention, please comment about them or make a video for us to watch in describing it. That would be awesome, because we want this group to be engaging, and we're all here to grow and to learn and to support each other. Because let's face it, we are a unique breed. Us map-making magicians we're not the majority by any means. So we need to support each other, and we need to be there for each other and to work in the co-creation magic more now than ever before. As Lazaris has said so many times, practice is over. It's time for us to stand in our empowered destiny and to start to align and to participate in the global magic that our world so desperately needs at these very challenging times. So let's do just a very quick centering meditation. And I invite you to just close your eyes and just let yourself relax. Take in a long, slow, deep breath. And then just relax and exhale. Let yourself become centered. Let yourself become centered, whatever that means to you. But ultimately, it means that the centering process is about pulling your awareness and your attention from the outside world of noise and confusion and chaos, to pull your attention to your inner world, of creativity, wisdom, intuition, and the love of your soul and spirit. And I want you now to take in another long, slow, deep breath, but this time as you exhale, you're going to hum a vibration, keeping your lips closed, but you're going to create a sound that vibrates through your entire physical body. Hold that breath, and as you exhale, to hum a vibration that is a way to center yourself very quickly. So ready now, take in a long, slow, deep breath. Take another deep breath in. Feel the vibration through your heart, your lungs, your chest, your entire being as you hum and express that breath as the exhale of sound. And just feel as that vibration relaxes your entire physical body quickly, easily, and without effort. And now just simply breathe. Let your breathing move into its own natural rhythm, a rhythm of relaxation. Inhaling gently and exhaling quietly. And I want you to imagine that hovering above your head is a miniature sphere of light, like the miniature sun or a moon glowing above your head, about a foot or two above your head. The size of a basketball, this beautiful sphere of light. It could be a warm, glowing light like the sun, or a cool, silvery light like this moon glowing above your head. And now as you take a deep breath in the inhale, I want you to imagine you're reaching up and connecting to that ball of light. And then as you exhale, you're going to draw and pull that ball of light down to touch the crown of your head. Take a deep breath in, reaching up, connecting to the ball of light. And then as you exhale, pull it down closer as it descends to touch the crown of your head. That's it. That's it. And as it rests there quietly and gently on the crown of your head, take another deep breath in, connecting with that beautiful sphere of beautiful light. And then exhale and pull it, draw it down into your brain, into your head, until your entire head is surrounded by this sphere of light, like a helmet of light around your entire brain, your entire head. And let that ball of light relax the tension, the tightness in your scalp. Let any tightness in your jaw disappear and evaporate. You might need to move your jaw from side to side to break the grip of tension there, but just let all of the expression on your face evaporate into a place of total relaxation. It's important to remember that relaxation is not something you do, it's something that you return to, something that you allow, because it is your natural state of being. And as we go through the day, we collect stress and tension from our thoughts and from our experiences. And right now, just let go, for this is your time, a sacred time to be centered with yourself. Now feel that light balancing both hemispheres of your brain as you ask for your higher self to heal the chemistry, the errant thoughts, and the energy of emotion that is triggered by those thoughts. Just sense that ball of light now, surrounding your entire head and balancing both hemispheres of your brain. letting go, becoming centered, becoming still, relax. And take in another long, slow, deep breath. This time, you imagine you're connecting with that ball of light in your head, and you exhale, drawing it down into your throat center to heal, balance, and expand the throat center, to balance the fifth chakra. Draw that energy into your throat and let your throat open, and giving yourself permission to communicate more clearly and honestly and effectively with every word you speak. And also, the throat is the channel of receiving nourishment. As we chew and digest our food, it's through the throat that we take in nourishment. And allow yourself the nourishment of self-care, being willing to take better care of yourself as you balance and heal this beautiful sphere of light that can be your connection with the divine, your soul and spirit, balancing and harmonizing. Creating a channel of receptivity as you take another long, slow, deep breath, breathing in, connecting to the ball of light in your throat, and then just simply exhale and sense that ball of light descending into your heart, surrounding your heart, and giving yourself permission to open your heart, to let the courage of your soul and the willingness of your spirit to be vulnerable enough to receive their love and their grace. To open your heart by thinking the words, I care. I really do care about me and my future. I care about the future of my family and friends. I care about the future of our world. It is safe for me to care. To open your heart and let that light heal and release any resistance around the heart center, to let loose of the defenses and the walls of protection, to know that you're safe and you are powerful and strong enough to be open, receptive, and vulnerable. And as that beautiful ball of light enters into your bloodstream, feel it expanding and being carried through the bloodstream into the many organs and glands, nourishing and feeding all of your body, the digestive system, the nervous system, the respiratory system, the reproduction system. Just feel that light flowing through all the many systems and organs and glands of your body. Let that light penetrate deep into the very marrow of your bone, to the very essence and core of your being. And as the nature of light cannot be contained by a simple physical vehicle called the body, you sense that light pouring out through the pores on the surface of your skin, emanating and glowing and reaching into your auric field until you're inside of this beautiful sphere of light. As you ask for protection and guidance from your soul and spirit, as you've embodied their consciousness within you. Knowing that you're safe, knowing that you're loved, let yourself open to receive. Let yourself know that you're here and ready to open and receive. And now I'll have you take in a long, slow, deep breath, coming back into the room, becoming fully conscious, fully aware, and fully present. So you take in a long, slow, deep breath, filling your lungs with life-giving oxygen that blesses and refreshes your entire being. And then as you're ready, you can open your eyes and welcome back.